You think you decided to watch this video. You saw the title, you got curious, you clicked. It felt like a choice. But what if that feeling came late? What if your brain had already decided before you became aware of it? That sounds impossible. Because choice feels obvious. You decide to stand up. You decide to speak. You decide to text someone. You decide to walk away. You decide who you are. At least that's what it feels like. But neuroscience points to something stranger. Your conscious mind may not be the author. It may be the narrator. And the story may already be written before you hear it. In the 1960s, two German scientists noticed something. Hans Kornhuber and Lothar Dicke. Before voluntary movement, the brain prepares. Before a finger moves, before a wrist turns, a slow electrical signal appears. They called it the readiness potential. At first, it made sense. Of course, the brain prepares the body. But then Benjamin Libet asked a darker question. When does the brain begin preparing? Compared to when you feel the decision? In 1983, Libet brought people into a lab. He asked them to move their wrist whenever they felt like it. No reason, no trigger. Just wait and move. Their brain activity was recorded. They watched a clock-like display, then reported the moment they felt the urge. The result was unsettling. The urge appeared before the movement, about 200 milliseconds before, but the brain activity started earlier, around half a second before movement. The brain was already building toward action. Before the person felt they had chosen, the choice was forming in the dark. Consciousness arrived late and took credit. Most people imagine the mind as a command center, a little you behind the eyes, making decisions, sending orders, controlling the body. But Libet suggested something different. The command may begin below awareness. Consciousness may not be the king. It may be the press secretary, explaining the decision after it began. For decades, this attacked free will. But then it got stranger. In 2008, Soon and Haynes pushed further. People were placed inside an fMRI scanner. They chose left button or right button whenever they wanted. Nothing forced them. It felt free. But patterns in the brain predicted the choice. Before the person reported deciding, not half a second before, several seconds before, in some cases up to 10 seconds. 10 seconds. That is not a reflex. That is enough time to believe you are still deciding. While your brain is already leaning, imagine two doors, one red, one blue. You feel yourself thinking. Then you say, I choose blue. But the brain may have drifted toward blue earlier, before the thought became yours. So what is the conscious self doing? Is it choosing? Or discovering what was already chosen? But before saying free will is dead, there is a problem. The experiments are real, but the meaning is debated. Libet studied wrist movements. Soon and Haynes studied button presses. These are tiny choices. Not marriage, not betrayal, not leaving a country, not changing your life. So maybe this does not destroy all free will. Maybe it shows small, spontaneous movement. Maybe the brain prepares many possible actions before one reaches awareness. Then in 2012, Aaron Scherger offered another idea. Maybe the readiness potential was not a secret decision. Maybe it was neural noise, natural activity building up, like water heating in a pot. At some point, one bubble rises, not because it was chosen long ago, but because fluctuations pushed it over the edge. The brain crosses a threshold. The movement happens. Consciousness notices the urge. If true, Libet did not kill free will. He found the brain tipping into action. But even that does not fully save us, because the story is still not what we thought. Whether the brain secretly decides or hidden activity rises into action, one thing is clear. You are not aware of the whole process. You experience the final scene, not the writing room. Your brain is always working beneath you, filtering memories, predicting outcomes, reading emotions, preparing movements, choosing words, judging faces, building impulses, rejecting impulses. By the time a thought becomes conscious, it already has a history. You do not see the machinery. You only see the result. This happens every day. You meet someone and feel something is off. You do not know why. Later you invent a reason. Their tone, their eyes, their posture. But the feeling came first. The explanation came after. You choose food from a menu. You think it was logic. But hunger, memory, mood, blood sugar, smell, color, and childhood associations may have pushed the decision first. You send a message, then regret it. One part of you acted. Another part found out afterward. We talk about the self like it is one thing. But the brain is not one thing. It is a crowd. Ancient systems, emotional systems, memory systems, habit systems, social systems, language systems, all negotiating inside one skull. Consciousness may be where negotiation becomes a sentence. I want this. I chose that. That was me. But what if me is not the decision maker? What if me is the story afterward? The story the brain tells, after hidden processes agree. This does not mean you are powerless. That is the lazy conclusion. It does not mean nothing matters. It does not mean people are robots, because your unconscious brain is still you. Your memories are you. Your instincts are you. Your values are you. Your habits are you. The hidden machinery is not outside you. It is the substance of who you are, but it means control is incomplete. You are not a driver with a steering wheel. You are more like a city, millions of signals moving at once. Some old, some new, some rational, some emotional, some trying to protect you, some trying to repeat the past. And above it all, consciousness turns on the lights and says, I decided. Maybe free will is not magic. Maybe it is not a button in the soul. Maybe it is slower than that. Maybe free will is shaping the system that makes decisions before you see them. That is why habits matter. That is why environment matters. That is why people around you matter. What you watch matters. What you repeat matters. What you fear matters. What you reward matters. What you practice matters. Slowly, it becomes part of the hidden process. You may not control every thought that appears, but you can train the mind they come from, and that might be real free will. Not instant control, but slow construction. A brain that makes better choices before consciousness even arrives. Still, the question remains, the next time you reach for your phone, the next time you say yes, the next time you walk away, the next time you think, I chose this, ask yourself, did you make the decision? Or did you become aware of it? Somewhere in the dark behind your eyes, the answer may have started forming before you ever called it yours.